southern rust is back in the state. As of Thursday morning, UNL's Plant and Pest Diagnostic Clinic had confirmed the disease in 4 southeastern Nebraska counties: Seward, York, Fillmore, and Cass. While it's not uncommon to see southern rust in Nebraska, its appearance at this point of the growing season is noteworthy. On Tuesday, we talked with Nebraska Extension plant pathologist Tamra Jackson-Ziems near Meade about identification and treatment options for the disease.
Well, southern rust is caused by an aggressive fungus that can infect plants. It can increase pretty quickly under the right conditions, and unfortunately, when it becomes severe, it can have a high potential yield impact.
Describe the timing of its appearance this year.
Well, this year it's especially a concern. Southern rust has now been reported in Nebraska in at least a couple of counties now. And this is at least 1 to 2 weeks earlier than we've ever had it move in on the calendar year in the past decade or so. And so we need to watch very closely and watch its movement and development.
Do we know why it's appearing earlier than usual?
Well, this fungus does not overwinter here, and so every year it has to blow in from southern locations, and the weather's perfect this year. The south winds are bringing in spores from southern states like Arkansas up into Kansas, where there is some southern rust, and so there's just a lot more of it, and it's likely to continue to build up more.
Can you describe further the weather that would lead to its spread?
Yes, these hot conditions are very favorable, and especially with the high humidity that we've been having and frequent rainfall. And so it's not the 95 or 100-degree days it likes, it's the 80-degree nights that are especially favorable with the high humidity and frequent rainfall and irrigation. And so those are things we need to monitor.
At what point does it start to impact yield?
And so, like most diseases, it's all about how much leaf area is affected. Well, this fungus in particular, and the disease spreads quicker than things like gray leaf spot. And so this can impact yield maybe faster than people may be aware of. And so we need to be on top of it, scouting now and frequently, especially in our southern counties in Nebraska.
Is this one of the harder ones when it comes to deciding when to treat?
Timing of fungicides is difficult, and we probably are going to need to rely more on fungicides to control this disease than we have in the past few years. And so it's important to know if the disease is in your field, be monitoring for it frequently, and know that most of these foliar fungicides have about a 21 to 28 day residual. After that time period, the protection is lost. And so applying a fungicide too early might mean most of the protection is gone when you really need it here in a few weeks if the disease continues to develop, and it might mean some locations need a second application.
Are you saying then wait for its spread throughout the field or wait till a certain growing point?
Unfortunately, we don't have treatment thresholds for this disease, but you'll have to make a judgment call based on the crop stage that you're at, knowing that later planted fields that might be earlier in development stand to be at the greatest risk. And so if it moves in and you're still in those early grain fill stages, it's probably time to make an application.
But you don't necessarily want to wait until the entire field has it in order to treat?
Definitely not. And so in order for these products to work, you want to be on the front end of it. And so if you're beginning to see it in a few areas in the field, it's probably time to pull the trigger.
How difficult is it to distinguish southern rust from common rust?
It can be difficult, and it's important that we know what we're doing. Common rust is in the state already. That fungus likes things a little bit cooler or conditions, and so we've got quite a bit of common rust here and there. Well, common rust tends to be brick red to cinnamon brown in color, and it can create pustules and spores on both the top and the lower leaf surface. Well, in contrast, southern rust, the one we're concerned about, tends to create more pustules and spores on the upper leaf surface. And so you want to look for orange to tan pustules that develop either on the leaves or even on the leaf sheaths around the stalk.
I should ask why you're not as concerned about common rust.
Well, common rust is not usually a problem for us in dent corn. Most of our hybrids have natural resistance to common rust, and so it tends to keep it more at bay. Plus the hot temperatures we're having will also slow it down.